I speak for myself as well as many of the sisters here. We...
Get the mic closer to you.
Oh, okay. We implore that something be done about the brother that's being held in Saudi Arabia, Ahmed Abu-Ali. It's kind of like a pass the buck situation, I think, where the Saudis are saying you have to act and you're saying they have to act. Nothing's being done, and this is unacceptable, and something needs to be done about this.
Pat? The one thing I'll tell you is that Pat Cook and I, who's about to address this issue, he and I ask him every third day, is he going to be released? Is he going to be released? But go ahead, Pat.
Give us an answer.
I wish I could, but I want to let you know, the reason I was late coming in is I stopped and met with his father and explained to him that I've asked permission. It's highly unusual to do this, but I've asked permission from our government to meet alone with him and with his attorney to show him what we have as far as the information on Abu-Ali. That's all of the documentation we have, everything that we know about the case, so that he can fully understand what the ramifications are of that case. Unfortunately, I can't explain to you in this forum what those ramifications are, but I hope within the next 2 weeks to have permission from the government to meet privately with him and with Mr. McMahon, his attorney, to explain to him the situation.
Excuse me. Hello, good evening. My name is Ahmed Abu-Ali. I'm Ahmed Abu-Ali's sister, and I understand that you want to privately meet with us to discuss the situation, but I want your public assurances that Ahmed will not be harmed in Saudi Arabia, and that our inquiries into the subject will not cause him to be charged for no reason. Ahmed has been detained in Saudi Arabia unlawfully for 1 year. Okay? 5 FBI agents have stated to our lawyer that there is no further interest in his detention. Amongst them are you, Mr. Mason. I can read you an email that you sent to one of our friends. I can tell you that this office has no further interest in Mr. Ali's detention. You wrote that to one of our friends, so there's no question about it. There's no question about it. My brother is innocent. The State Department has told us that there are no charges by either government. They have told us there are no current investigations. This is Mr. Matthew Gillen from the State Department. Okay? And they also told us that all what's needed right now is the U.S. government to give a formal request to Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia no longer wants my brother. They don't want this anymore. And we ask you to give your public assurances that my brother will not be harmed, that he will not be charged because of our inquiries into the matter. Agent Cook, Agent Pistol, Agent Cook's supervisor, Director of FBI in Saudi Arabia, D.A. Kronberg, and his supervisor, Neil Hammerstone, have stated to our lawyer that Ahmed is clean and that there is no further interest in his detention. There are no plans to charge him. Could you give me your public assurances, please? I'm a very concerned family member. It's been a nightmare, 1 year, a nightmare. You cannot understand. I want your public assurances. I want you, Mr. Mason, to stand up and tell us today, tell the community, that Ahmed will not be harmed, that he will not be charged because of our inquiries into the subject as a reprisal. I want all of you to stand up today and give us that statement.
I will tell you this. Ahmed will not be harmed by the FBI. I cannot tell you unilaterally what will happen in Saudi Arabia. I wouldn't want to make a promise to you tonight before this community to say that I have the power to affect a sovereign nation. I don't. When I sent that email, I meant that. And that's what the situation was at the time. I am hopeful that Pat Cook will be able to get that agreement from the government to sit down with your father and to sit down with your father's attorney and tell everything that we know. I wish that sometimes I could unilaterally affect the outcome of a particular situation, but this is one where I cannot unilaterally do that. I will tell you, if he comes back to this country, he will not be harmed by the FBI.
Agent Mason, Saudi Arabia does not want my brother. Okay, the State Department is waiting. Our Congress member, Tom Davis, is waiting for the FBI to give their approval, to say, let the boy go. Just let him go. That's all we want. We're a family. We just want our family member, to come back home to us safely.
Believe me.
Safely.
Believe me, I understand what you're saying, and I wish that it were as simplistic as it seems when the State Department passes it back and forth and says who's responsible for it. But I'm hopeful that within the next 2 weeks, we will be able to sit down with you and members of your family and tell you exactly what it is we know and exactly what's happening.
But you have said it to our lawyer, which is even more than that. You do not need to meet with us to tell us. Said it to our lawyer. He is clean. He is innocent. We have no further interest. We do not want to charge him. All of those statements were made and corroborated by all of these people. Let's just put an end to this. It's a nightmare. Let's just put an end to it. I urge you, I implore you, just put an end to it.
Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar.
Thank you, Tasneem. Jazakumullah khair. Takbir.
Allahu Akbar.
I want to say something about this. The community, Mr. Mason, is exposed all its raw nerves on the issue of Ahmed Abu-Ali. This is a young man who grew up here. Many of us here knew him in the diaper, carried him as a baby. I myself did that. And it really touches a raw nerve with me personally. And I really add my voice times 100,000 times to her voice. And I really want everybody here to hear this. We're not talking only as people who knew him as a young man, but this is the collaborative, collective voice of the community. We really want him back yesterday. And we look forward to see your effort in that direction. Go ahead.
Good evening, guys. Mr. Mason.